Hi, welcome to the Harry Bauer Show.
Stop trying to steal my thunder. Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of It's That Deep. We're actually on episode 7, lucky number 7, and I've got Mr. Harry Bauer with me.
The G himself.
So I know we haven't done this particular series for a while, but it got a good reception, so...
You've been saving for a really impressive guest.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm very pleased to have Harry with me today. Could you, very quickly, introduce yourself? Just tell everyone who this person sitting next to me is.
I am 24. I'm originally from Devon, Brixham, sunny Brixham in Devon. And I work in events, event management for a corporate events company, like a publisher. And I know Rhiannon through university. We're both student life mentors together.
You jumped into the next question, I didn't even have to ask it.
Okay.
No, it's good, it's good.
We had there's a little group of us there. Obviously I was the first one to be invited on here, goes without saying.
The others are just
trying to trigger them all. Yeah, so that's how we met, and for some reason we kept in touch, and here we are.
Harry actually lives in London now, which is very convenient.
London.
Which is probably the only reason I actually invited him onto the show, because he lives locally. But that's beside the point. So if you haven't watched any of these episodes before, I have my infamous yellow bowl here filled with some juicy questions.
God help us.
And we are going to, I'll try and answer these questions within 15 minutes.
15 minutes.
Okay, I say 15 minutes, but we always go over time.
All the other videos are like 35 minutes. I tried watching one on the way here and I ran out of time. I arrived at the venue before it had finished.
It's just, but this is good though, because we don't want to like, I don't know, the time limit is just there for the sake of YouTube.
Can I ask you a question?
But, yes.
Why me for the next guest? Is it just because I was available? Or is it because you think I'll actually be okay answering these questions? Because if that's the case, I think I have news for you. I do not have strong opinions on
What are you talking about? That is a big fat lie. So let's get straight into the video. I'm going to let Harry go first because he is the guest. I'm going to set the timer quickly.
What personality traits in others do you hate? That's a tough question to start. Are you going to answer the question first?
That's difficult, that's easy. So many things I hate about people.
Go! List them.
Okay, my biggest thing is probably arrogance, or, okay, I can't think of the exact word, but you know when
You're friends with me.
Entitled, yeah, this doesn't make any sense. Entitled people that think they are better than you.
For me, the worst thing about other people's personalities is ignorance. Ignorance of facts, ignorance of having an opinion. Or maybe it's not ignorance, maybe it's apathy, you know, like when people don't care.
Yeah.
I find that really frustrating. Like, there's so much going on in our world and people just are ignorant of truth, ignorant of fact, happy to spread fear, hatred.
I would say though, ignorance can sometimes be like...
Bliss.
I understand why some people are ignorant, and also some people just like it's all they know. But then I suppose like...
I understand that, I just don't like it.
Yeah. But maybe, okay, these things that we just said, I guess you could look at them on the flip side and say, oh, but that's how they've just been taught to think their whole life. But I suppose a worse trait would be someone who like actively goes out of their way to like spread hate.
Yeah, I mean, what was the actual question? Did it say what you hate about them?
Personality trait, so I guess it's part of someone's actual personality.
I think hate is also a proper strong word.
Yeah.
Like, if you're gonna hate on a certain trait, then I guess it has to be...
Hate on my trait?
Has to be pretty bad.
Yeah.
I don't know if there are...
But is that part of someone's personality though?
What do you mean? Yeah, well, traits make up a personality. I think someone who's vindictive and kind of like calculating, that's pretty bad.
Yeah,
manipulation is pretty sad. But then equally, everyone manipulates in some way. Either knowingly or unknowingly. It's true. Because manipulation is persuasion, which is part of life. If you're trying to get somebody to do something, if you want somebody to, I don't know, stay out for an extra drink with you, or little things like that, do you have to be skilled in persuasion and manipulation? And...
Well, okay, like everything, too much of something can be bad, so that's a good example of that.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, it's like how you use your powers of persuasion.
Yeah, I suppose people who are inherently manipulative for the benefit of themselves who don't care about any negative impact on others.
Yeah.
That has to be one, I think.
Yeah.
A lot of people hate hate selfishness, but I don't actually think there's a real place for selfishness, because people who are inherently too kind or too generous, let's say, rather than being selfish, if generosity is the opposite of selfishness for this example, often do it at the detriment to themselves. I don't like that. So maybe, I guess, just extremes of things. Be a balanced human being.
Just be balanced. I'm going to be really selfish from now on.
Yeah, you should. That's good.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. To what extent do you agree or disagree? I used to think that it was always true, but actually I remember my dad saying to me once that sometimes if you've gone through a lot of stuff, it can have the opposite effect.
Yeah.
It can break you down, and that's fine. Like, I think there's this idea that you just have to kind of get through the tough times and like take it in your stride, but it can really like ruin your life as well.
Yeah, I think to what extent do I agree or disagree, I guess is not really relevant, because too much of is relevant, because that's what we're here for. Eventually, if it doesn't kill you, then
what else is it gonna do?
Oh yeah, so eventually it's going to kill you. Take depression for as an example. If you are deeply depressed and you can contemplate suicide, right, and then you don't do it, in many ways somebody would say it's going to make you stronger eventually, but then nobody knows what's going to happen in the future, do they? So you may contemplate that again in the future and it may work. I would probably err on the side of not agreeing with it so much, because the future, to say it's making you stronger, it might be making you stronger, but it doesn't necessarily make you stronger. Do you know what I mean? The degree to which it makes you stronger is so subjective to every person's experience.
And everyone's different. Some people can definitely take blows like that.
Yeah.
Other people are very sensitive, and it really impacts them.
I think the degrees are too extreme to agree with it massively. It's not what kills you, what doesn't kill you that makes you stronger, it's the people around you and your shared experience of life that makes you stronger. Because if you have a bereavement of somebody close to you, the bereavement alone isn't going to make you stronger.
So it's the way that it's actually worded.
Exactly.
Right.
Because the bereavement alone won't make you stronger, but the people around you who help you see that bereavement in a different way, or are there to support you and change your outlook on that bereavement, then that makes you stronger. So what do you think?
No, I agree with you. But it just goes to show that people have a very big impact on everything you do.
Yeah, hugely. I think that's something I've definitely learned since going to university from where I was. More so than I already had an appreciation of. Your actions directly impact.
We were literally talking about this before the video as well.
Everything you say and everything you do will be interpreted in some way by someone somewhere, and it's up to you how you're perceived and what those impacts are. What we said, didn't we? Self-awareness is so important.
Self-awareness is key. Is it your turn?
Done. Here we go. Ooh. Do you eat your breakfast, then brush your teeth? Or brush first, then eat?
This is the light-hearted question. Light-hearted question time. Harry didn't know this, but, well, you should know this if you've watched my other episodes.
I didn't know this.
There is always a light-hearted question somewhere in the bowl, and you have selected it, my friend.
How lucky am I? I always, if you're going to bed, eat, then brush teeth. In the morning, brush teeth, then eat.
Why? What?
Because, and here's the key thing, I don't actually eat breakfast that often, but when I do eat breakfast, it's at work.
Okay,
So
I get that.
I often take an apple on the walk to work.
Right.
Or I've got like these porridge pots which I keep at work. So there would never be an instance where I wake up early enough to be able to eat at home. Because I walk to work, so it takes me like 20 minutes to walk to work. I get everything prepared the night before, wake up,
except breakfast,
get changed, teeth, shoes, whatever, pack my bag, and then I'm gone. And then I'll either eat on the way or eat when I'm at home.
Okay, that makes sense, but there are some people in this world that brush their teeth and then just eat breakfast like that.
So your breakfast tastes toothpaste, basically.
Which doesn't make any sense.
No, I think I would agree with you. Obviously, from your assertions there, your viewpoint is pretty clear to dear listener, reader, watcher, audience.
So, like you, the only exception is when, say, I don't know, I have like a flight in the morning and I just get up.
As you do.
Really
bloody
early.
vloggers, they're in demand
Get
for all
really
those
early.
business trips.
At like 5 in the morning, and at that time I wouldn't really eat breakfast because it's a bit too early for me, so I'll wait. I'll obviously brush my teeth because I'm going to leave the house.
Sure.
And then I'll eat at the airport, but that's a different scenario. If it's just a normal day and I'm eating breakfast, I just get up, eat breakfast, brush teeth. I try to leave a gap as well because you want to straight afterwards is not necessarily good, apparently, as well, because...
Straight after you eat?
No, apparently it's just not a good thing to do because there's some you still have the debris in your mouth and then you're I don't know. There's some scientific evidence that suggests that you should leave at least an hour.
Sure.
I don't know.
You are making this up now for YouTube. YouTube, it's going to go viral
They're
because
gonna at me.
this is it. Yeah, spreading fake news. Fake news!
Is there such thing as an ideal family environment?
Yes.
Pray tell.
The ideal family environment is one in which there is love from all angles and each, one where each person in the family feels supported and valued at all times, no matter what. Then the circumstances around that will hugely change each person's interpretation of how their childhood was, how their family works. But the ideal family, what was the question? Family environment is one where there's love, support, and then if something happens in that family environment, that's fine. But ideal, I would suggest that so long as there is love, support, and I guess that question alludes to more contextual things, your own home with loads of money and plentiful food.
Some people would say that.
Yeah, some people would say that. But I think the ideal environment for a family to thrive, there are happy families in the middle of nowhere with no food and no money.
Yeah, it's all about your mindset. I mean, to be honest, obviously no family is perfect, but then how do you describe what a perfect family is?
Exactly. I know, I've got friends who grew up with very privileged upbringings in the kind of most stereotypical privileged sense. There was adequate money, if not plentiful. There was, good food. Everybody in the family was loving and whatever, and that stereotypically might be yes, ideal family environment. But actually, I know loads of people equally who didn't have any of that, or nearly any of that, and who would also say that their upbringing was ideal.
Yeah.
And that they had an ideal family environment. So.
Yeah, and it's subjective as well because you can ask someone. You might not even think there's the timer. You might not even think that their family environment is ideal, but I mean, you don't know anyway because you're not part of the family.
Yeah, so shut up.
But to them, that's been an ideal upbringing. And I mean, everyone's experience is going to be different, so it's just about how you deal with everything in your mindset. And there's always going to be trials and tribulations no matter what, even if you have all of those things that you just mentioned. You'll go through something basically as a family.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just about your relationships with everyone in the family, your values and your morals and stuff.
Your values and your morals and stuff.
Values and your morals and stuff.
That's basically it.
Well, that was a very nice note to end on.
I don't know if the audience has gained anything concrete out of our answers, because our answers were basically, it's all subjective.
This is me in every video.
The answers are, it's all subjective, nobody really knows, and it's down to personal experience. Maybe that's what you should title the video.
Yeah. That's got a ring to it.
That's got a ring to it.
It's that deep as shit, really.
I love it. It's my favourite YouTube series.
Thanks very much for watching, guys, and I will hopefully see you in the next episode of It's That Deep.
I won't.
Thanks, Harry. Bye!
She's blushing, look, she's been complimented. Kate from Line of Duty, unbelievable. She's sat here in the flesh, can even touch the hair. Great series. I can't wait until it comes back. I'm so excited. And we found the news out today that Friends is coming back for a reunion episode.
Yes.
Which petrifies me.
And she was like, oh, I'm a bit sceptical about it. And I was
I'm completely sceptical about it.
I get that. Yeah.
Because also it says unscripted. It will never be go and act it out.
Sure.
It's all going to be a bit weird. I'm scared that it's going to be terrible. So yeah, there's too much money at stake. Apparently 2 million each.
I can only dream.
Am I getting paid for this after?
I can't offer you 2 million. I can offer you coffee.